Yeah, it was eerie doing those games with no fans in the stands. It was weird so we did road games off monitors.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to finally get to do this and tell me.
I appreciate it. No, it's great to finally kind of have the freedom to tell my story.
The most important thing to me is people going to remember that Johnny Gargano was a good professional wrestler, but even better human being.
It's honestly a blessing. Like, being able to just go to different places, travel, and see new sights.
The title of your podcast actually is very appropriate here. I've just always been interested in hearing people's stories.
Welcome to Your Story with Mike Wexler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Your Story. My name is Mike Wexler. Guys, we got a legendary guest and the legendary Jack Farmer in the building.
Hey, first time, long time. Glad to be here. Thanks so much, Mike, for having me on Your Story.
Man, you know what's cool? So we had an interview before online, 2021, or was it early 2022?
Thereabouts, 2020, 2021. I'll trust you.
What was cool was that at the time, I called it All Heart, All Soul, which I was still kind of figuring out the name of the podcast. But it was funny, if you go look back at it, it's still under the Sock Monkey Mike Show banner. So
yes,
technically.
You're not Sock Monkey Mike anymore?
No.
It's like I don't even know you anymore.
It's been a while, folks. It's been a while. First and foremost, how's everything?
You know, it's good. It's that time of year where things are picking up. Summer's starting. I don't know when this is going to air. How long, far out? Is this live?
It's live as far as this published is, but probably soon.
Well, in that case, yeah, it's summertime. As things get rolling there, as you know, a lot of stuff starts picking up, a lot of things happening. And it's a fortunate position I'm in where now I'm having to juggle things as opposed to find things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, you're doing some great stuff. Huge congrats to you for that article that was put out.
Yeah, as of today, it was an article in Chicago Weekly, I believe. Very cool of them to reach out and do the article and just chat about me and in their publication. And so it's flattering when you see stuff like that. But.
No, it's cool. I mean, you're doing some big stuff, obviously Championship Wrestling, Santino Brothers, DJing.
Yeah.
You're a busy guy and we appreciate that.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm a big believer in if you have a gig or a job, as soon as it's done, you're unemployed until the next one starts. You know what I mean? And so I always want to make sure I am doing everything I can to try to get the next thing going. And that means being as busy as possible and having a lot of plates spinning.
No, absolutely. Well, the first thing I want to get into is that I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being an inspiration when it comes to the broadcasting thing, giving me some great insight, advice over the years. So I want to say thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank you. No problem, I guess. I'm a big believer in, rising tides, raise all ships. And I've been very fortunate in my career to have worked with a lot of people who've been doing it for a lot longer than I have, who have been very gracious with their knowledge and their understanding of things. And with the broadcast world, whether it be in other sports or you and I do a lot of pro wrestling stuff, as a good pal of mine, Ollie, who does commentary for Progress over in the UK, he was saying, wrestling is like a niche, but then commentary and broadcasting within pro wrestling is like a niche within a niche. And so there's not many of us that are that passionate about it. And when you find someone else who is, you want to be able to share with them and help them along, and hopefully they help you along as well. And we all get better because of it.
Yeah, no, it's cool because every time I see you at Championship Wrestling, whenever I get to work with you over there, it's just you feel the passion that you have for this business, and it's so influential. So, it's really cool to see you when it comes to the interviewing stuff, where the pre-matches or the post-matches, or even doing ring announcing and commentary. It's really cool just to see that passion really be influential.
Well, yeah, I always say that pro wrestling, and again, this probably goes with commentary for all types of commentary, all types of broadcasting, but definitely with pro wrestling, you have to love what you're doing. You really have to love it, because if you don't, the people that do are going to outwork you every single time. The people who love, because they're going to be the ones that go to every show. They're going to be the ones that are putting their names out there. If you're just doing it because it's a paycheck or something, you're just never going to be able to keep up with the people who are there because they absolutely love it. And so I do it because I really enjoy it. I really love doing it. I always say that I want to make 13-year-old me proud. And I always try to think of, if I was telling 13-year-old me I was doing this, would I be excited about it? And that's kind of one of my big gauges on whether or not I do something. And so every time I'm at Championship Wrestling, as we talk about, I feel like I could tell 13-year-old Jack, you're doing this, and I'd be super proud about it, super happy about it. The opportunities I've had there to talk to some people like D'Lo Brown, for instance, recently, that was the one that got a lot of buzz on social media for me. Everyone was super happy for me to talk to D'Lo Brown. I loved D'Lo Brown as a kid. And so like getting to talk to him, like that was crazy. It's so super cool. And there's so many incredible people who have come through that I've gotten to chat to that has been so fun and so cool. But then also the commentary, the ring announcing, everything else. It's really a dream come true. And I got to say thank you to David Marquez, who runs the show over there, for giving me the opportunity, for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really cool to see you grow and to do all these cool stuff. Really quick, I mean, this is probably going to be the last thing about wrestling. Then we'll get into more into the little bit of sauce over here. But I do want to talk about, and this is for me, I was a huge WrestleMania guy, like ever since I was little, like wanting to go to WrestleMania in LA. It was the first time in almost 20 years since it came over here. And this year, as of this recording, we got WrestleMania in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, well, Inglewood. So I want to ask you, how special was it for you, WrestleMania LA 2023?
It was something, it felt really awesome. I don't know if it was just because it was WrestleMania or the fact that it was supposed to be a few years ago, but then things got bumped back. I don't know if it was because it felt like such a big WrestleMania and such a big moment, but it was just really cool to be able to go to WrestleMania, get to be a part of all the crazy festivities that comes with the circus that is WrestleMania. And also be able to go home to my own home at night, you know, and not have to go to the hotel or anything like that. So it was a bit of both worlds. I got to be at home, got to be in my own personal place whenever I needed it, but then also get to be a part of all the crazy shows that are happening, be a part of WrestleMania, be a part of all this, the chaos that it brings. And it was really, really fun. I'm already ready for them to come back. Forget all the other cities. All you other cities, stop bidding for WrestleMania. Just let it come to LA again. Just forget about it.
And I know how special that was, kicking off the collective as well for Santino Brothers.
Oh, that was huge. It was such the collective has become such a big deal. And it is, in a lot of ways, the start of WrestleMania weekend, even though they have nothing to do with WWE. I think for a lot of the hardcore fans, that is the start of WrestleMania weekend. And to be sort of like the starter pistol of the race that is WrestleMania was such a cool experience. And everyone that we worked with there was just awesome to work with. And I thought the show went off really well. I mean, the fans, I was very worried, to be honest. When we started, it was a morning show, 11 a.m. on a Thursday. I was thinking, what kind of crowd are we going to get? How are they going to react? What kind of response are we going to get? The crowd was great. The online reception was great. Everyone seemed to love it. And so just a really cool experience. And I'm really hoping we get to do it again next year.
Oh man, crossing fingers, please. That would be great. One thing I do want to mention too, wrestling aside, is that again, you're doing so much, and it's really cool to see you getting all these opportunities, not just in the wrestling world, but DJing and doing all these separate podcasts as well, working with going back to wrestling Inc., for example.
Yeah.
How does it feel really being, if we could go into the DJ side of things really quick, where did that passion start for you?
So funny enough, it wasn't something I grew up with. I mean, I kind of did. I mean, it's called Your Story, so I guess I'll dive in a little bit here. But growing up, there was two jobs I always thought were the coolest jobs in the world. One of them was an MTV VJ. I was like, Carson Daly is living the dream. What a cool job this guy has. The other guy was Michael Buffer. I can't say the thing or he'll sue me, but you know what he says. And because I always thought with him, it's like I would pay to go to the shows he goes to. He gets paid. He says one line. Everyone cheers for him, and he's done for the day, and he gets to watch the show. This guy's living the dream too. But I always thought they were cool. But I'll be honest, growing up, I was like, but that's not reality. People don't really get those jobs. And so I kind of went and tried to do the regular job thing. I worked at a bank of all places, and it just wasn't working for me. So I decided to start going back to school, and I got a job working in a warehouse of a DJ company. And it was just to pay bills because I could basically do it whenever, in between classes and things like that. But then eventually they were like, hey, Jack, you're good at talking to people. You should be in our booking side of things and book DJs. I was like, cool, I'll start doing that. Then eventually the DJs were like, Jack, you should start DJing. And so I started going out with the DJs and learning to DJ. I was like, this is really fun. I want to do that. And eventually I started doing that so much that I was able to go off on my own. And fortunately, I've been self-employed since 2017. And it wasn't what I didn't think I was going to be a DJ. You know what I mean? It just kind of happened. And I'm a big believer in when you feel like things are going in a certain way, if you're enjoying it, keep going, keep pursuing it. Don't say, oh, this isn't what I originally planned, so I'm not going to do it. I never would have thought I was going to be a DJ. I started doing it, started to love it, have been able to fortunately make a career out of it. And then from there, that's kind of how I got into the wrestling stuff. Is I said, how do I start doing more of this live entertainment stuff? And that's what led to the podcast. That's what led to the wrestling. And that's what led to everything else, is really just me going, I like this more than I like what I'm going to school for. I'm going to do this instead.
Yeah, no, it's cool because, like, you know, of course you got the education behind it, but like, it's really cool when you find stuff that's maybe sometimes outside of your field or maybe within your field that you're like, man, you know, like you even said, it's like, this is really cool.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in you got to try stuff. You know, you've got to, if you have opportunities, even if you don't like it, at least give it a try because you never know. And that's going back to like being on podcasts. I never thought I was going to be a podcast guy, but I originally started doing podcasts with the hope, because I was a DJ, that it would help open up the idea of being in radio for me. As I don't think I'm going to be in radio anytime. I don't think there's a lot of room for radio folks anymore. But the point is, I was just trying things out. I was like, oh, this podcasting thing works. And so I'm a big believer in if you think this is kind of cool or you want to try something, try it. You never know if it's going to lead to the next big thing for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool just to see you like do all this different stuff, and it's really cool. One question I do have to ask is that maybe this is just from a personal question, but as someone that just graduated from university with a bachelor's degree, and I'm kind of at that point in my life where I'm like, I don't know what the next step is. It's kind of like just trying to venture out, going after these jobs. LinkedIn, of course. I know you're a big LinkedIn guy.
LinkedIn, believer in LinkedIn, one of the few.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to it. But aside from that, what advice do you have to someone that's like trying to make that next step? Because like for me personally, maybe the ones watching or listening at home, maybe kind of feeling that same struggle. My first piece of advice is with a lot of what we're talking about, it's in that entertainment realm, like DJing, of course, pro wrestling, podcasts. It's very easy for all of those things for people to take it very relaxed and to treat it like a hobby or to not approach it as seriously as I think you need to. I would say when you're trying to get a job at any of these places, if you're trying to be a ring announcer at a small indie wrestling company, if you're trying to be a host for NBC, whatever it is, you should always treat it like a professional job search. You shouldn't send them a letter that says, or send them a text that says, hey bro, can I work for you? Like, sounds cool. Like it's a job, and you should treat it like a job, like a professional job. And I'm a big believer in a lot of things. I say that a lot. I'm a big believer in act as if. So if you're someone who, like, for you, your story, what would you like to be? Of course, I want to become a sports broadcaster. Like Vin Scully was the one that inspired me.
So Vin Scully, fantastic person to reference. Act as if you were Vin Scully. Don't act like I am a just graduated student trying to get a job. How would Vin Scully dress? How would he act? What would Vin Scully's LinkedIn look like? What would his social media look like if he was on social media? How would he call games? I mean, you don't want to do impressions, but act as if. Don't approach it as, hey, I'm a young college graduate, so whatever, you know, I'm cool though, but you could train me and be the person that you want to be, so when they're hiring, they go, oh, he's already got it. We don't need to train him. We could just plug him in right now. Yeah. So that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Well, no, thank you for that. Because like for me, again, as someone's trying to do so many things and finally getting the education for it, it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I should be this, but I'm still stuck at this place.
Well, that'll never go away.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I mean, I think that's everybody. I have, I go through highs and lows when it comes to where I feel like I'm at in life. And I always try to remember that where I am now was where I wanted to be before. But you do have those moments. And I have those right now with places I work where I'll get an opportunity. I'm like, yes, this is what I should be doing. Sometimes I get a step back and I gotta go, this is a bummer, but you still got to take advantage of that opportunity and treat it like it's the biggest thing in the world. I want to do play-by-play commentary. I don't always get to do play-by-play commentary. Sometimes I get another role. Sometimes I get interviews. Even though I want something else, I got to do everything I can to knock it out of the park with that interview position because you never know what's going to happen with that.
Right.
Where that could lead, how that could help you, hurt you, whatever. And I also try to remember that with things like, let's say, Championship Wrestling, David Marquez runs Championship Wrestling, as I said a second ago. I am a big fan of David Marquez. David Marquez has done a ton for me. And I don't think David Marquez gets enough credit. I'm a David Marquez guy. He's done very well by me. And even though I'll tell him all the time, I want to be on commentary, and he'll say, you're doing interviews, I always have to remember David Marquez has 1 million people he could have doing interviews. He has 1 million people he could have doing all this stuff, but he's given me that opportunity. So if you think you should be here and you're really right here, sometimes you got to be thankful, hey, I'm here. Like, I could be here.
Yeah.
You know, so be thankful for the things you have. And of course, you're never going to feel like you're there. When you're calling Dodger games, you're going to be like, man, but there's someone else calling the World Series. You know, there's always going to be something, you know?
Yeah.
So just enjoy what you have. Never lose the hunger, but enjoy what you have and be thankful for the people that helped get you there.
Absolutely. Well, Jack, I want to say before I get to the last question, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy LA traffic schedule to being over here. And we seriously appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
So the final question, every single interview, but it impacts me so much because it's the purpose of the podcast, your story. So, Jack, after everything that you've done thus far and everything that you're doing in the future, is Jack Farmer, the legendary Jack Farmer, proud of his story that he's created thus far?
I'm proud so far. Absolutely. I think that, of course, it could be better, you know. I think that's part of the pride in the story is that there were setbacks and you keep on going, you know. So I'm proud of the fact there's a lot of places I could have quit. There's a lot of places I could have not done certain things, but I did, and I'm here. And who knows what the other alternative would be? But I've done some pretty cool things, and I'm happy about that. I'm still hungry for a lot more, but I'm happy with what I got.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jack. Is there any way you could look into that camera? Whichever, yeah, there we go. That camera right over there. Plug anything you got, social medias. Where can they find you?
Well, my name's Jack Farmer. You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. You can also check me out on Championship Wrestling as part of the broadcast team. I am the voice of the Influencer Fight League, so make sure to check that out, as well as the voice of Santino Bros Wrestling. You can check that out as well. I also do shows like Practical Money, giving investment, having money conversations. Can't say advice. It's not advice. It's money conversations. Also, Evolution of Movies, breaking down different types of movies. And I also work for Static Media and Wrestling Inc., where we cover WWE and AEW, and may or may not be bringing back Draped in Gold in the very near future. That's a tease, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you so much, Jack. And I guess I got to do this outro thing if the camera goes straight to me. There we go. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Your Story. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe. I don't know the whole YouTube thing, but follow me at It's Mike Wexler on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also follow some of the producers of the podcast, Mike Contreras at IE_photographer. We got Steven Prater, aka at SMP Photos. I believe that's under it. It's probably wrong. We'll put it in the description. We got Jasmine Barrios over here. I think I'll put that in the thing as well. And shout out to Marvin Sotelo and Mikey Lopez for being a part of this. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of Your Story